what happened in the 1980s so that everyone everywhere of all ages started getting fat? These lines, they're hard to see with the projector, but basically around here in the 70s, coming into the 80s, all ages, everyone started getting fat. So in engineering, and again, I was 25 years in complex problem solving, which is multi-factor complex issues leading big teams. And it ain't easy, but you got to have a lot of discipline. But when something like that happens, you actually smile because you say, we're going to have this in no time. Because when everything falls out of bed together suddenly, that's what you dream of, because those problems are relatively easy to solve. Whereas when things slowly decline and come and go, and they're not consistent and they're intermittent, those can be really subtle and complex and interacting variables working together sometimes, not others. But long story short, this would be easy, and it actually is easy. We know what happened. And there's hundreds of millions of people around the world who are asking the question, or should be, or maybe they don't think of it. They just think it's my genetics. They should be asking, well, what exactly was it? Maybe can I go back and use that knowledge and reverse it? And let me ask you something. If the rule you followed brought you to this, of what use was the rule? Quite powerful. And of course, we know now the dietary guidelines and the shift to vegetable oils for heart health and the shift to, healthy whole grains, which really meant refined carbohydrate wheats, which the food industry absolutely was orgasmic when the scientists suddenly told them that the two cheapest ingredients on the planet that cost nothing, vegetable oils and refined grains, were now healthy. So the food industry said, and that was the explosion of processed food. The guidelines actually advised going to a processed food hellhole. And the guidelines people would say, oh, we meant healthy whole grains and unprocessed. Rubbish. Once they said whole grains were good and wheats were good, they let the genie out of the bottle. Pandora's box was opened, and when we know what happened. But he just published this paper, 48 individuals in corporate settings, and they put them on a ketogenic, very low carb diet without calorie control. They just told them how they could eat, advised them, bit of support. And they managed to get, with 49 patients actually, nearly a metric ton of weight was lost between the 50 people in, I think it was a 12-month interval. And you can see the rapid collapse in weight. Now, some people didn't lose so much weight, and you can get, insulin-sensitive obesity where your body really doesn't want to lose weight, and you're not that unhealthy. And also some people are not adherent, even if they say they are. I mean, that's human nature. So there's going to be varied results, but generally massive reduction. And the results in terms of the medical side were extraordinary. There were truly massive reductions in triglycerides, which is the real bad cholesterol in your cholesterol panel. LDL doesn't really mean much. CRP, inflammatory marker, blood pressure, and liver enzymes, which are crucial. So we don't just have an epidemic in the US of fatty liver disease, non-alcoholic, in adults. That came decades ago. There's now an epidemic in children of fatty liver disease. So to Werner's point, the youngest type 2 adult onset diabetic in the world a few years ago was in the newspaper. The kid was 3 years old. When very obese, but Korean, when they went in, they said it has to be type 1 diabetes, autoimmune, because 3 years old. No, it's type 2. The insulin was through the roof, not missing. So the world has gone insane, as Werner said. A massive increase in HDL, the good cholesterol. Now, this is very meaningful. This HDL, good cholesterol, means a lot. And there was no change in LDL. So they went high fat, low carb, got amazing results, and their LDL didn't even go up. So even that's partially a myth that the LDL will really change much on a high fat diet. So you see, the mythology is true everything. It's opposites day in nutrition world, right? So fantastic result, 16% average weight loss.